Hey guys, so a few weeks ago I put a new double din stereo in the Typhoon. It's the Asteroid Parrot. Actually, I bought it sometime over the winter and I didn't get around to putting it in, and then when I did, it didn't work because it was used, because it was off eBay. So I bought another one off eBay, maybe $185, something like that, and it works. So I just thought I'd take a little video of all the extra things that I've gotten it to do since I put it in. When I first put it in, I was going to the Midwest Sci-Fi meet, and I put it in. I could play music, I could sync my phone to it, Bluetooth, and that's all I wanted. However, there were other things like wireless calling, video in, things that I wanted to make sure that were functional. So what I did today was I installed the microphone, and I know it looks like a little bit of a jumbled mess up here because I've got a bunch of other things, but it's not terrible. So I put the mic up top here. I had considered, because it's a double mic, I had considered maybe installing it inside here, but I've seen guys that put the compass, the digital compass, and I don't know if there's outside temp on there, but I like that, and that's something I want to get in the future. So let's see, I also have the Asteroid. This is the GPS unit. It actually makes the functionality of like the weather app, and the GPS it works. I don't think it cost me anything. Like I said, I bought this used, so as far as I can tell, there's not an account on it already. So I ran all that today, and you know how it is, fishing stuff under the dash. So I just thought I would show you guys how it's working. Try and make sure I don't have as much of a glare here. So here's the GPS, and this is an Android-based deck. I don't know if I couldn't tell. I think it's like I don't know, gingerbread, or I don't know what the operating system. I'm not an Android guy. So, but it does work well as far as, I mean, that's exactly where I am. So, and other than that functionality, I haven't really fooled around with it too much. So, but it works. Let's see. The other thing that I did was, okay, so I did get video to mirror from my iPhone X to the screen, and I had to buy probably 3 cables to get this done. I bought the Apple AV Digital Out, which is like $50. I got it on eBay for like less than 20 bucks. And then there is a converter cable that converts HDMI to RCA. And unfortunately, as nice as this is, it has RCA inputs for video. There's no HDMI in, unfortunately. So I'll show you how that works. And I did get an extension cable, which I have to run this underneath here, and I'm going to get it to come up somewhere around here for plugging in. But I can show you quickly how the mirroring works. Look at that. It's crazy, right? So when I go to play video, like Hulu or YouTube or Netflix, the audio and video play on there pretty good, which that's something that I really wanted to make sure worked. The audio command, the voice command works well. Some of the settings are not easy to find, so to adjust the system's voice that talks to me, it was super quiet. I had to do some digging, but I found it. I don't know if there's anything else that's major. I guess really that's it. I recommend it to anyone who can get their hands or custom make this bezel. I have removed my ashtray because in my truck the ashtray was custom made into a cup holder, a pop-out 2-cup holder. And the problem I have is on this new bezel, this drops low, and when the little lid flaps up for the cup holders to pop out, it hits that. And as you can see, I got this line here, and I kind of want to grind that off, but that's something I'll get to. And I know yesterday on Facebook, I was fooling around with the gauge faces on my truck, and I had bought those white face with the blue glow gauge overlays, and I bought them on eBay for about $35, and they looked great. One of the things I had done a few months ago was I had converted just about all the lighting in the truck to LED. Everything outside, everything inside. But I had not done, and I bought that kit through Sport Machines, and I had not done the gauges. So I thought I'd pull the dash apart, change those bulbs to LED, and if I would install the white faces, the blue glow white faces, and if I didn't like them, well, at least there were white faces, and I had new bright LEDs behind the gauges. But you know what? Those did not allow the stock or the replacement LED lights to shine through. So I thought, okay, well, I'll just hook them up as they're supposed to be. And I hooked them up, 2 wires. There's a solid red, and there's a black with a red stripe. So I assumed that the black with the red stripe was ground, and the red was power. And I followed the instructions on the how-to page, and they worked. And so the first thing I did was I adjusted the brightness on the dial, and oh, look at that, they get brighter. You know, dimmer, let's see. And then there's a switch, and the switch itself has a dash and a circle indicating open and closed circuit. But printed, wait a minute, I think it's in here, sorry. So, this is what I got, okay? So, I had it switched to blue when I first turned it on, and they lit up blue, and I adjusted the brightness. And I'm like, oh, well, let's see what they look like green. And when I switched it to green, that was it. They shut off. And I thought, maybe okay, no green. So I go back to blue, nothing. And I adjust the brightness, nothing. And I thought, well, maybe I blew a fuse. So I checked the fuses. Nope. All the fuses are good. And I thought, you know, black with a red stripe and red, sometimes, you know, any color in automotive can be ground. So I tried switching them around. Nothing. So then I took the dash apart again, and I took the cluster, and I set it on a towel under the hood, and I hooked this thing up directly to my battery. Nothing. So this thing worked for about 10 seconds, and then it shit the bed. So, and honestly, the blue glow is kind of cool, but it's pretty ricey. So, but I would like the white faces, so I was hoping maybe in the future I'll just hunt down some white faces. I don't know. I mean, the LED kit from Sport Machines makes a huge difference. Huge difference. I highly recommend it. It's a bit of a pain to get the gauge cluster out, but if you can do it, so worth it. And honestly, it's so clean now. I'll probably just leave it this way. Maybe down the road, if I get my hands on a white gauge face overlays, maybe I'll do it. The other thing I wanted to point out was the LED kit is so bright that the lighting underneath here at nighttime, I know it's hard to see now, but at night, it's so nice that I could see tons of scratches from 25 years of use. So I took this all apart, and I have some scratch remover for plastic, and I took this apart, I just sat there and rubbed it for like an hour while I was watching a movie, And I just kept checking it against the light, and I think I got pretty much all the scratches out of it. And then the black underneath, there's a product called Final Solution, and I also use that on these. And granted, these are, you guys know what these always look like after 25 years. They're all chalky, and so these didn't turn out bad. And I use that same thing on the black down below. It looks very nice under there. So I'm quite happy with that. And I guess really the other thing that I am working on is a friend of mine had a Lexus hybrid, just this little electric shitbox car. Anyway, I really liked it. Had this blue LED in the ceiling up by the map lights. So when you're driving, it gave the inside this very faint blue light, not an annoying blue light, not so that it looks like the interior lights are all blue, but it was just enough so that you didn't have to turn a light on when you were doing something. So whoever had converted my ashtray to cup holders. Hold on one second. I'm sorry, it's such a mess. So here's my cup holders that somebody had converted. They did a good job. I would like to make sure that that it stays working. I don't know if I can. So basically, you push on here, and it pops out. Anyway, so you guys know in the stock ashtray, right somewhere right up in here, there's a light, and that light goes on with the parking lights. And as a guy who drives a really awesome truck, I like to call attention to it. If I'm honest, I like to call attention to it wherever I go. So I roll with my parking lights on all the time. So I noticed that they had taken the light and just stuffed it up in there and took the bulb out. So what I did was I fished it back behind all this stuff to down below here. And then I noticed when I put this metal cover on, because the blue LED itself is super bright, but this gives it two like outward on a diagonal beams of light. And what I want to do is I want to attach it somewhere underneath here so that it shines out blue into the footwells at night when I'm driving. I think it's pretty cool. You guys might think it looks stupid, or you might think it's cool, whatever. So I don't know. I pretty much spent all day yesterday working on my truck, all day today. So I love this truck. I know you guys do too. And if you got any questions, let me know. Maybe I can help you guys if you want to use the same stereo, or if you need some kind of dimensions or photographs of this bezel, which unfortunately the guy who made it for me doesn't make them anymore. I know people ask. So I do feel lucky that I got my hands on it. So other than that, bye.